Are we rolling? Hello family, welcome back to yet another episode of my music journey. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? So guys, on this episode, I'm simply talking about something that is really close to my heart, that is really near and dear to me. So basically, I just want to narrate to you guys how losing my mom affected me, how it still affects me till today, and how I'm just taking it one day at a time. I remember it was the 30th of May 2019. I was on my Kenyan tour. I had barely arrived there. I think I had just been a week in Kenya. I was supposed to spend 2 weeks there. So there I am. I hadn't slept the night before on the 29th of May due to something that I'm going to share as we get more and more real with each other. So I had spent pretty much half the night awake fighting certain demons. God give me the strength to get through this. You know, I really didn't want to, I was dreading to record this episode because I remember even last year when I was doing season 1 of my music journey, when I got to this part of the journey, when I got to this particular episode, I just became powerless. I became strengthless, if there's such a word. Because every time I talk about this, it feels like I'm reliving this nightmare. And I solicit your prayers as I try to narrate this to you, because I feel it's better you hear it from me than hearing it from somebody else, because I'm the one who went through the process. I am the one who went through the pain. I'm the one who went through the loss. I'm the one who had to pick up the pieces. I'm the one who is continually navigating in the dark, because I'm still struggling. 2 years on, I'm still struggling to find myself. So as I was saying, it's the 30th of May. I wake up in the morning. There was nothing special about that day. There was no sign, nothing that would indicate any sign of bad news coming, you know? So I'm just lying there on my bed. I remember I woke up at 10 because, as I mentioned earlier, I had really had a rough night. So I wake up, I have my breakfast, which was in the form of cornflakes. I was at a man of God's house in Kenya, there in Limuru, Reverend Dixon tour. So I'm there. He's a very good man of God, honestly. I always stay at his house whenever I'm in Kenya. He has hosted me twice in a row, and he has introduced me to his wide circle of friends in the ministry. Reverend Dixon, I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate you, Mama. I appreciate the kids. I appreciate everybody. You know, I appreciate you welcoming me into your space. So after having breakfast, I still felt tired. And I remember I was the only one in the house at the time, because the whole family, the kids had gone to school, Reverend Dixon and Mama had gone to work, you know, at the office, at the church office, you know, and I'm by myself. So as per norm, they would leave me food. They would literally just, you know, like, but Bhebhe tega itafula, you know. They would lay everything on the table for me, so that when I wake up, I just eat. So just after eating, I felt very tired. I really felt tired, and I needed to go back to sleep. So I went back to bed. I think it was around 11:30 in the morning. Went back to bed, no alarm bells, nothing. Went to sleep, you know, got under the covers, because that place is very cold. Those who know Limuru, in Kenya know how cold it can get. So I get under the covers, I sleep, and my phone was on silent. So I sleep. So the time is 14:30 and I just pick up my phone. I'm sure a lot of you know the struggle. You know, it's the first thing we pick up, especially in our industry, because our phone is our office. So I pick up my phone. I'm like, whoo, I felt like I had missed everything. You know, when you feel like you've literally missed everything. I see a lot of missed calls from my wife in South Africa. I see a lot of calls from my brother in the UK. And I see a lot of calls from Zimbabwe. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, somebody's really in a hurry to get hold of me. You know, I tried to call my little brother who was in Zimbabwe at the time, and he didn't answer his phone. I tried to call my wife, and then she greets me with wailing. She was literally wailing, you know. And I really dread the position that she was in, because I can't imagine being the one having to deliver such news to my loved one. You know, I don't know. I'm weak. I'll be the first to admit I'm weak like that. But I can't imagine myself having to deliver that fatal blow to my better half, having to tell them that your mom is no longer with us. For those of you who know what loss really is, you would understand exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who know what loss really is. Because you get overwhelmed by so many emotions all at the same time. You're thinking to yourself, there's confusion. There's a lot of confusion. You just can't make sense of your own thoughts, you know? You want to know more, but you at the same time, you don't want to keep on hearing the same fatal blow, you know? It's a traumatic experience, family of God. And when she told me that, I'm still in bed, like my eyes are still heavy with sleep. I'm still in bed, still trying to make sense of what is going on. It was really tough, family. It was really tough. It was really, really tough. Probably the toughest time I've ever gone through in my life. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I kid you not. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Now, when something like that happens, we react in different ways, because we handle loss, we handle grief, we handle pain, we handle emotional distress in different ways. And in my case, the tears just wouldn't come. You know, when you assume the posture of crying, but tears just refuse to come. I assumed the posture of sadness. I assumed the posture of despair, but the tears just wouldn't come, because at the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, surely this is a lie. Surely, but then I'm thinking, why would she lie to me? I pick up the phone. I call my brother in the UK, and he is distressed. He is distressed. He confirms my worst fears, you know? And mind you, after I got that call from my wife, I prayed. I prayed and said, Lord, may this cup pass. Because I have lost loved ones before. I have lost them. I remember I lost my sister. I always grieve my sister. Even on social media, I grieved my little sister, my elder sister, for the longest time. Even when I do concerts, I always mention her, because she was literally the pillar, you know, that kept the family together. She was that voice of reason, because, you know, as siblings, you get extremes, you know, two extremes. There's the excessively nice ones, and then there's the excessively temperamental ones. I'm sure you would guess which side of the spectrum I fall in or on. Is it? I fall more towards the side, you know? That's why I say appearances can be very deceiving. You see a smiley face, Mkhululi. I smile because I know what the Lord has brought me through. I smile because I have seen the goodness of God in my life. There was a time when I was the angry guy, just angry at everybody, angry at everything. The type of anger where you even sit down and question yourself. By the way, why am I angry? And you still can't get an answer. Anyway, guys, I just do this. It's my coping mechanism. I always try to make light of a heavy situation so that I don't lose myself. Because I'm sure as some of you have seen in the previous episodes, and those of you who follow me on all my social media platforms, you would know how emotional I am. Though I try to keep it from you. I try to hide it from you guys. If you don't know why I hide it, refer back to the previous episode. I think it's episode 3. So my brother has confirmed that, yeah, for sure, mom is gone. And I'm thinking, but she wasn't sick. She wasn't sick. I'm not saying that, I don't know, guys. I'm sure this is one video that really doesn't make sense out of all the videos I've made, but I really solicit your prayers. I'm trying to narrate this as best as I can, but even as I do that, there's some questions that are still lingering at the back of my mind. Because my mom was the kind of person who, she never got sick. Even if she did get sick, she would be up and about. She wouldn't lay in bed all day. I don't remember. In all the years that I experienced mom, I don't remember a day where she was in bed all day because she was sick. She would always get up and go. So my first question is, I'm trying to think. Did she get hit by a car? Was she in a car accident? I'm trying to think of all the possibilities, because at that point, nobody is really willing to say much because they're still going through the grief themselves. It's like you're shooting the messenger. A messenger was also going through their own despair. I will miss her for the rest of my life. There is not a day that goes by without me waking up and just scrolling through our conversations on WhatsApp. I had such an amazing relationship with my mom. We had our problems, just like every family would have problems. There are issues we didn't see eye to eye on, but she still remained my mom, and the love still remained there. I always did my best to respect her as best as I could, And one thing that I'll always miss about her is how she would call me daughter, meaning man. Maybe it's because I assumed, the role of a man at a tender age, because immediately after high school, if you've really been following this journey of mine, I went straight to work in an effort to take care of my family, in an effort to contribute towards my little brother's tuition fees. I was that guy trying to be responsible. I really wish I had done more. Otherwise, there would be something wrong with me if I felt like I did everything for her. When you think you've got time, you think the person is going to be there forever. You think that, that death is inevitable. That because you've lost people before. You've seen people die before. You've seen people who are not related to you. You've seen friends, really close friends. You've seen colleagues, go, especially in this really tough COVID-19 times. But you always feel like you've got one more day. They try to call you, you ignore their call, and then you eventually return it, after an hour or two. I just want to encourage you, family, that never take any moment for granted. I don't want you to leave with regret. Never take any moment for granted. Spend as much time with them as possible. Tell them that you love them as much as possible. you know, tell them how much you appreciate them as much as possible, you know. And I'm to a certain extent, I'm really grateful for the 30, is it 30 what, 30, 35, 36 years that God gave me with my mom. You know, he gave me a lot of chances to make amends, to, you know, to love her, to provide for her, to take care of her, to be there for her, to experience her, you know. I know I may be jumping the gun with this, but there are some people, like, you know, some people who are really close to me. I wouldn't want to tell their story lest they would want to tell it themselves, but there are people who are really close to me who never experienced a mother's love. Some of them, you know, by the time they opened their eyes, by the time they started making sense of what was happening around them, they realized that there wasn't a mother figure in their life. There are some who've lost their mothers at a very tender age, you know. When you think of such scenarios, when you think of those people, instead of feeling robbed, instead of feeling entitled to have kept your mom for the rest of your life, you know, you feel grateful. So I've got nothing but gratitude towards God for all the years he gave me with her. And in addition to that, I really value family. I really value family. Without my family, I would not have made it through. Have I made it through? Is the question I always ask myself. I don't think I have. It's a process. Some days are better than others. Some days I just wake up overwhelmed. I feel like crying. I feel like throwing a temper tantrum. You know, some days I get angry. You know, I literally speak into the atmosphere, you know, as if I'm talking to my mom. I'm like, why did you have to go? You know, why did you have to go? Especially at a time when things are getting so good, you know. So days are different. So then, in conclusion, what then do I say to you about handling loss? The best thing I can tell you, family, is taking it one day at a time, putting one foot in front of the other, one step at a time, one move at a time. It will not be easy. It will not be easy, but you gotta do your best, especially as a family man, as a family woman, you know. As an older sibling, you gotta be an example for your younger siblings, you know. But don't forsake that morning time. When you feel like letting it out, when you feel like crying, just cry. Get yourself in a corner somewhere and just cry your eyeballs out, and, you know, say a prayer and just keep on moving. And to all the people of Kenya, the people of Deliverance Church in particular, all the Deliverance churches across Kenya, I really thank you for the support that you gave me, especially Reverend Dixon Tuo and his family of Deliverance Church Limuru. Those guys saw me going through the worst time of my life. I remember the Reverend Dixon came into my room and asked me if I would want to go home immediately. Remember, people of God, these people have already advertised. They've already advertised to their congregants, and I know it may be very difficult for some people who come from countries where I'm not really supported as much as some people. But Kenya, East Africa as a whole, is one region where I know most of my fan base is. East Africa, if you think I'm loved where you are, wait until you go to places like Kenya. Wait until you go to places like Tanzania. Wait until you go to places like Uganda, where my music is played across every platform. People I have never met supporting my ministry. People who don't even understand the first thing, one thing, they don't even understand a single word of what I'm saying, but they support me. West Africa is also a huge supporter, including South America, the Caribbean. I'll end up mentioning everybody. South Africa supports me. But the love I received from Kenya was amazing. So when I was offered a choice to either drop everything and head straight to South Africa, pick up my family, travel to Zimbabwe, and go and bury my mom, I made the decision of, I kept hearing her voice. I remember that call distinctly, where she said, Mkhululi, never give up. And at that time, I was still struggling to buy a car. Remember that car I sold? So her heart was very sore because she was in South Africa when all of that was happening. Her heart was sore, and she saw the pain that I went through after having to let go of the car. Because a car is a necessity in Johannesburg. A car it's not a luxury. It's a necessity in order for you to, especially as an artist, in order for you to be able to make ends meet, you need that vehicle to transport you from point A to point B. Because, it's not even an arrogance thing, people of God. Like, think about it this way. You're supposed to minister at 10 p.m. How do you get there? You're supposed to take an Uber. Unless you've got really nice friends with really nice cars who are willing to take you there and bring you back home. But sadly, we don't have many of those. Can I get a witness up in here? Yeah, I can see I'm losing you now, guys. I'm losing you. But we don't have many of those. Sorry for making this video too long, family. But I just need to finish this one. I promise you the next one will be even a bit shorter. So I just told Reverend Dixon, with tears in my eyes, after praying for my mother's soul to be received by my Father in heaven, I said, let the show go on. She would want me to continue with this. She would want me to conclude this tour. Wounded and battered, confused, angry, in despair, in pain beyond comprehension. Pain beyond comprehension. I still soldiered on. And family, what made it even more difficult was that Reverend Dixon's church was the last church I was supposed to minister at. I received the call of my mother's passing it was a Thursday, the 30th of May. You never forget those dates. It was the 30th of May. And I remember I needed to sing in Machakos on Friday. And I needed to sing in, where did I need to sing? On Saturday. And I needed to sing at Reverend Dixon's church on Sunday. I ministered in all those places. And I didn't even minister as if something was wrong. But there was a time, it hits you like bolts of lightning. It hits you from time to time and it overwhelms you. It's like you're singing and you're smiling and then it hits you. Suddenly it hits you and you remember, my mom is gone. My pillar is gone. So be strengthened, family. Continue praying for me as I continue praying for you. I didn't make this episode so that you'd feel sorry for me. I made this episode so that you can see that it's possible to keep on moving. I'm not guaranteeing you. I can't guarantee you any healing. I can't guarantee you that the pain will ever go. But I can assure you that it gets better. To those of you who recently lost their loved ones, and you're thinking, how will I ever be able to get through this? Some of you have lost your husbands. Some of you have lost your children. Some of you have lost your dads. Some of you have lost your moms. Some of you have lost your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your best friends, your colleagues at work. It does get better. It does get better. And by saying it does get better, I don't mean it gets better and it permanently stays better. Days are not the same. There are days when you feel like rubbish. And there are days when you'll feel a bit better. So there's no need to take your own life, because it does come. Those suicidal thoughts do come. You feel like, can I just die and go be with this loved one of mine? Get rid of those thoughts. Stay in God, stay in the Word. Surround yourself with people who love you. Surround yourself with people who support you. And it does get better. Thank you so much for tuning in, family, for this very somber episode of My Music Journey. See you in the next one. God bless you.